Hey guys, it's Reviews and More back with a quick review on the Lidl brand Silvercrest, their house brand vacuum sealer. Where it's going to be a quick review and demonstration. Before we get started with the review itself, please, if you find this helpful, give the channel a subscription. Really helps me out. And you can also like the video if you found it helpful. So let's break down into this. First, it is $30. It was for under 40 bucks. I was able to get this item, which comes with a roll of 11-inch vacuum sealer plastic, and I also was able to buy 2 extra rolls for $7 for the pack. The item itself is very light, very easy to use, and it comes from a store called Lidl, L-I, or Lidl, depending on how you pronounce it. I always call it Lidl because it looks like Lidl. But if you look right here, it comes with a little grommet that's extra. You'll see where it goes a little later. This is a very simple little item, and sometimes you can find these vacuum sealers priced upwards of $100. So this one was 30 bucks. So really great deal. No online option as best as I can find out there, so you've got to go into the store to get this one. But as with a lot of weird things, Lidl's a very strange store. They sell groceries that are very cheap, like everything's like store brand. They have some name brand stuff, but just tons of store brand items basically. Very, very inexpensive. They also have things like power tools, and this kind of isn't a power tool, but it kind of goes along that same vein of items. Like, hey, we can make this stuff cheaper for you, and yeah, it's not a name brand item from Office Depot, but it's also not 100 bucks, or like for like the laminator I reviewed, other various items. They got a whole line of power tools, and they're basically just off-brand for the normal. So this item right here works fantastically. It does the job great. It required all of like 2 minutes of reading. So if you look at the buttons, that little red one, that basically will seal the actual sheet of vacuum sealing plastic. It's on a timer, so once it's sealed, it's done. It's a 2-bar seal, so basically when you put the plastic in there, you'll see in a moment, it'll make 2 solid bars, basically sealing the plastic together basically doubling down. So instead of just one single seal that can break easily, it's basically doubled up. That way you don't have to worry so much about the thing breaking apart. So the first thing you're going to see here is just setting the bag up. So the first thing you do is seal the first side of it, because as you cut through these things, it's going to be open on either side. So you got to seal the first side first, and then you can put your food in there. You can also use this for I believe it's called sous vide cooking, which can be done with either one of these little stick heaters. They make little tubs that heat on their own. You can also just use a pot if you have a thermometer and the ability to keep an eye on a stove top to make sure it doesn't get too hot. The system's set up to be very user-friendly. There's little backstops to make it so you can't take the plastic too far. And once that little red light goes off, that's when the sealing's done. And then you can start packing up the plastic later on for the vacuum seal. So for this video, what you're going to see me sealing up first is some shrimp, because I was trying to give it like a worst case scenario. Like, what if the stuff you put in there's a little wet, has a little bit of liquid on it. You will see that later on there is a flaw, because there was I was basically making spiced shrimps. There's like Cajun spices and some raw shrimp in there. What I should have done is let these shrimp just be frozen. Should have froze them and then sealed them, because that way there'd be no liquid. It's not going to necessarily damage the item inherently if there's liquid in there, but it will prevent the seal from happening with that little heater band that's on the little copper piece. And there's a little reservoir just at the bottom, basically where that plastic kind of hangs over, just in case some liquid gets through it. On this first demonstration, that is exactly what happens. If it happens to you, what you do is you open the sealer back up after you've snapped it shut. There's a little snapping, that happens when you push down. Push the buttons on the side, open it back up, and then close it again to do a reseal. You'll actually have a little bit of mess from whatever liquid kind of gets out, but you can wipe it up fairly easily. Now, what will happen if you sit there and just try to seal up soup or something ridiculous? It'll mess your machine up, because it'll probably get into the airflow section, which I'll point towards the end of the video. But as you can see here, and you see the back of my head, hey, no bald spots. Happy day for me. It does a great job sucking that air out and really getting a tight seal on there, up until the point where some liquid shot through and messed up the actual final seal. So when I had to go back through this, I did a second reseal on it, but nothing too crazy. And that was my only real issue that I had with this. I just had to basically push down on the little red button again, get the seal redone, and then it worked just fine from there. The only other issue I had was essentially it's fast, so before you even realize it, it'll be done. So if you don't time it right, I mean, it was very simple. So that really, it was just the leaking that happened, and cleaning can be a kind of a pain because little reservoirs down there. But other than that, it worked out great. And in just a second, you're not going to talk anymore. You're going to hear the sound it makes as the vacuum seal works during the second time I had to reseal that shrimp that I was just telling you about. Wasn't that sound just lovely? It was a great sound, like a screaming man in the distance. All right, but one thing that I will point out is it's all automated. Once you push that green button, as long as you don't do what I did, put something that was wet in there that makes the seal mess up. If you put dry or frozen food in there, or at least food with very little water content, you push that green button one time, and it'll basically start the seal right after the vacuuming's done, and it's finished. You don't have to push a second button. You only need to push the stop button if something goes wrong. Like if you see a bunch of liquid fly in, you press the stop button real fast to prevent any damage from happening to the system. So overall, a super easy system to work with. $30, $40 if you want to buy the extra sleeves. The sleeve system, as long as it fits in there, so 11 inches wide is about the largest width it'll take. As long as it'll hold that, you can buy off-brand. You can buy other brands because this essentially is an off-brand. I just bought it there because it was convenient. I think Amazon's got tons of them because it's such a it's a very that new sous vide cooking method that's been around forever that people love. It's gotten very popular. And also, as you can point in there, the little grommet, that black thing that pulled out of the tube at the beginning of the video, that is an extra seal. So don't throw that away. It's not meant to be. Don't throw it away. That way you have it as extra for later. The other thing is, as far as like if the reservoir gets liquid in it, that little nub right there, that's the air suction. That's where the air gets sucked out. So as long as the water doesn't get above that, you should be fine. Thanks for watching, guys. It's a great item. $30 at that store called Lidl. So if we want to pick it up, I'm sorry if it's pronounced Lidl. Excuse me. I don't know what it really is. All I know is it's German, and they sell great stuff and cheap food. And thank y'all so much for watching my video. Please give me a subscription to help me out. And if you want to, please like the video. Have an awesome day.